Hi everyone, in this video we're going to see the second task for the reading section of TOEFL 2026. Remember, this is TOEFL 2026. The task is called Read in Daily Life. As its name suggested, we're going to read about things that will happen or may happen in daily life. Okay, we're gonna jump right into it. So let's begin with, what does the question look like? Well, they will make you read a short passage that might be an email, a blog post, a social media post, or a notice in your building. And then you're gonna answer specific questions about the passage. Again, about the same passage, you can have one passage and some questions about the same exact passage. So, what do we do? What is the strategy in this task? Well, we first read the passage. Remember, this is like an everyday language passage, so just pretend if this is an email, just pretend this is an actual email that you received. If it's a blog post, let's pretend it's an actual post that you're reading because you want to. Just read it like casually. From what you read, you're gonna get the most general idea about it, kind of like we did in the first task, which means you just want to know whether this is about a fire alarm, is this about money? This is about water, about food? What is this about? Just get the most general idea, maybe one word or two words. This is about a dog that barks. Okay, just get the most general idea. You don't really need to overanalyze it. Then we're gonna go to each question. Here I have a comment. In my or in the previous TOEFL, or for the previous TOEFL, I made a lot of videos about each specific question type. You can go there. I'm gonna put in the same playlist, but the questions or the type of questions that you get here and also in the third task are exactly the same question types that were or that existed in the TOEFL 2023. So you can refer to those videos to analyze each question type. Just in case you need it, some students don't really need it, but it's the exact same thing. I'm not going to make new videos for the exact same thing. Now, following, even if you know the specific question type or that you get the specific question type, every single question type follows kind of the same general strategy, which is after you locate the question in the thing that has the question mark, you read the question and you understand what they want from you. Like, are they asking us a why? Are they asking us a how? Are they asking us a what? And then you go to each alternative from that question, and in each alternative we're going to find keywords from the alternative. Notice the order. We don't find the keywords in the passage. No, we find the keywords in the alternatives from the specific question, and we match them. We match them with what? We match them to the passage. Again, the order is, we read the passage, we kind of understand a general, very general idea about the passage. Then we go to the question, we go to each alternative, and using the words in the alternative, we compare to the passage, the alternative to the passage, not the other way around. We go from the alternative to the passage. And finally, we can use process of elimination, okay, and the passage to eliminate their own alternatives. I have a full video about process of elimination. I'm gonna basically just use it in this video, but the full explanation is going to be another video that is literally just called process of elimination. Again, what should we not do? Well, don't do it from memory. What does this mean? Sometimes you read the passage, and since it's a very short passage, one, two, three, four, 5 lines, you say, okay, I got it. And then you go to the questions and you try to solve the questions from what you remember reading, because it's a very short reading. It's like you got a very short email or even a text. So you may remember it. So we still don't want to do it from memory. Why? Let's say you actually have a prodigious memory and you can't remember everything photographically. You still don't want to do it because you don't want to burden your brain with doing that. Okay, you want to leave your. This is the first section. Reading is the first section. You're starting fresh. You want to keep being fresh for when listening, writing, and speaking come along. So you don't want to do unnecessary work. You don't want to burden your memory with memorizing stuff that you don't need to memorize it. That if you can memorize. For most of us mortals, we cannot memorize it. If you think you're gonna memorize it, you're probably gonna be wrong. You're probably gonna remember incorrectly, or you're going to believe you are remembering something just because you believe it to be true in real life, which is another mistake. But just don't do it from memory. Most of us are bad or have bad memories. Like, you say, yes, I remember the text that you sent me, but can you really remember word by word the text that the person sent you? You probably remember the general idea of the content of a text. Okay, I'm talking about a text message, like a WhatsApp message, right? So yeah, most of us cannot really remember word by word. We remember the general idea, but for the TOEFL, for the reading section of the TOEFL, for the reading section of any exam, actually, we need the word by word. We need to see the exact word that they are using. Also, don't spend too much time in the real exam. You don't really want to spend that much time. So this is why we can guess if you need it or you just move on with your life. When you're practicing that is not a practice test, you can spend some time. Okay, like for practice you can totally spend some time. For the real exam or for practice tests, just move on. And finally, don't try to understand everything. Remember, this is one of our most important principles, along with only the information in text exists. We are not here to comprehend what we're reading. I know this is called reading, and it's like the full name. Its full name is reading comprehension, but this is not about comprehension. We don't care about comprehending. We care about getting a good score so we can move on with whatever we want to do with our lives. Okay, we're gonna practice. I'm gonna put an example, an exercise. Here it is. I'm not gonna pause the video, so if you wanna solve this example, this is the short passage with the two questions. Pause the video right now, solve it, write down your answers. Don't leave it on your head, because if you leave it on your head, how do you know that you're not just cheating yourself? So write down the answers, and I'm gonna continue with the explanation. Okay, so let's follow this strategy. What does the strategy tell us to do? First, they tell us to read the passage and get the most general idea from the passage. So when we read the passage, we have municipal charter. Okay, we may think this about municipal, but municipalities may say many different things, right? Sign up for paperless billing statements today. So it's about paperless billing. Okay, safe, convenient, easy. Enroll in, there it is again, paperless billing. So, same word, it's probably important. To receive monthly savings account statements in an electronic PDF document. Access your municipal charter, then again, municipal charter account through the mobile app and select account preferences in the upper right hand corner to enroll. Okay, if you had to say what this is about, you may say, since we're going to use the words that repeat, you may say, oh, it's about paperless billing, whatever that means. So it's about paperless, at least that word we kind of definitely understand. It's about not using paper. Not using paper for what? For billing. That's it. That's what it means, right? So now, if you had to get a general idea of the structure, so what is the structure of this passage? First, they are telling us what this is, enrolling this, and then they're giving us instructions for what to do. How do we know that these are instructions? Because they have verbs in imperative form. Access, like you go access, you that are reading this, access this, do that. So these are instructions. Instructions for what? At this point, we don't really care. Okay? Like this is like a definition or a presentation plus instructions. That's the general idea. Now let's see the questions. Let's see question by question. Go to each question and then we're going to eliminate using process of elimination and the passage. So, what type of business issue the notice? So, how do we do this? Again, if you can get it by understanding, good, correct. When I say that this is not really about reading comprehension, I'm not saying that if you comprehend, you should stop comprehending. If you can understand the text without any extra effort, then good, use that. But even in that case, I want you to get used to still find material, objective reasons why your answer is the answer. So sometimes what happens is you think, oh yeah, I just understood, but you don't know how to explain it. Well, that only goes so far, because you need to be able to point at the reason. So we're going to go to each alternative, finding keywords. 11. What type of business issue the notice? They're asking us about the business. What type of business? Even the word type is also here. So type of business, because they're all business. Let's start. So we have A, an internet provider. Okay. How can we tell that it's an internet provider? Well, somewhere here they say electronic PDF, maybe, but you can have electronic PDFs without internet. Okay, but they say mobile app, so that's definitely from the internet. Okay, we kind of match. Okay, we're gonna leave it there for a moment. B, a computer company. Okay. Yes, electronic PDF, but that can be seen in a computer, but it can also be seen in a smartphone or in a tablet. So it's not necessarily have to, be dependent on a computer. Also, a mobile app is actually the opposite, right? Usually you don't have apps on a computer. Usually have apps on mobile devices, like a laptop, sorry, not a laptop, like a cell phone, or also a laptop, I know, like a Chromebook, right? But usually like a cell phone or a tablet. Okay, a paper company. Well, this one is the most obvious one, I hope, because if the whole thing is about paperless, then a paper company will not be promoting the lack of use of paper, right? So I kind of can tell, we kind of can tell that this is not the right answer. And finally, we have a bank. Okay, how do we know this is a bank? Well, which words will connect to bank? The only words that connect to bank, oh no, there are two words that connect to bank. One is monthly savings, and the fact that it's a billing. Okay, and here is where we found the connections. We found the keywords. We connected the keywords to the text again from the alternatives to the text, and now we're gonna start eliminating. So again, paper company, definitely not, right? Because it's paperless. So not a paper company, not Dandler Mifflin. So we have an internet provider. Again, yes, it could be an internet provider. So because of the mobile app and because of the electronic PDF, but let's think outside the box. So yes, an internet provider may be telling you to do this because they want you to use more internet, but an internet provider will be more like widespread, right? It will not be so specific because they don't need you to use paperless apps for you to use their services. Also, this internet provider is being too specific, as in just talking about a mobile app. It's not even talking about the mobile app's connection to the internet. So it has a very weak link. B, a computer company. As I said, this is not really about computers because you can open PDFs in some other supporting systems, and you don't really have apps, or you don't really use apps with a computer, so it's not a computer company. Now, a bank. Well, yes, the bank is the one that it's related the most because we have billings, and who does the billing? Well, many companies do the billing, okay, but we have monthly savings. And where else can you have monthly savings or monthly savings account even? So the word account, you may say, yeah, I have a Netflix account, I have a Spotify account. Okay, the word account may be used for different things, but monthly savings, where else do you have monthly savings? You don't have monthly savings. I don't know, like from Netflix, right? We don't have. They don't give us monthly savings. Now you may have monthly savings under your mattress, but then that wouldn't be an account. So the connection of monthly savings plus account tells us that this is a bank, and that is the answer. Okay, gonna go to the next question. The next question is telling us, is not longer telling us what, but it's telling us how. It's telling us about the process. So how can customers enroll in paperless billing? They're asking us about how to do something. And here, if you remember, when we analyze the structure of this passage, the second part of the passage were instructions. When they say what to do, instructions were given. So here you have to think, when they say how equals instructions. They're asking for instructions. In general, you can copy this because every time you have a how is, I don't know why I cannot put the T. How is just instructions. So how do I make tea? Well, you first boil water. Well, you first buy the tea, you boil water, you grab a cup, you put boiled water in the cup, right? I'm giving you instructions, and all the instructions are given with imperative voice. Access, do this, do that, right? And here, if you notice, they'll say access this, right? And then select this. So these are the instructions. This means that the answer for or the part that we have to match is going to be somewhere here. So we're gonna analyze, you probably already know the answer, but we're gonna analyze each alternative anyway to make sure that we know how they are matching or not matching. So A, by visiting a municipal charter office. B, by accessing the website. Wait, I didn't check. Okay, visiting the office, accessing website, using the app, or calling customer service. Here is a more direct and actually easier way to check. Visiting. Nowhere here they talk about visiting or going, so it's not visiting. B, accessing the website. There's no mention to website, so it's not B. Using the municipal charter app. Well, yes, municipal charter account through the app. We have two words, the two keywords. Okay, that stays. D, calling a municipal customer service. There's nothing about calling, and there's not about nothing about customer service. Therefore, the answer is C, because it matches and the other ones don't match. Remember, there's no such thing as it is. Well, it is, but we don't want reasonings like, oh, it's obvious, or I know, but I don't know how to say. You should be able to know how to say it. Okay, these are the answers. Now we are going to continue how to improve this. Well, given that this is vocabulary that you can encounter in daily life, or that it is not really that hard, so you can engage in everyday conversations in English, just with friends, with family, or you can just reach out to people, right? So you can have forums, chats, friends, family. We also want to read news articles online. We also want to read posts or blogs, and we want to talk about what you read. So not just reading is the first half. Then you want to talk about what you are reading. Now, what happens if you don't have time? Like your exam is next month, you don't really have that much time, and you are working full time. Well, then when you are using, or when you are performing your little practices of the TOEFL, you want to use that time. So you want to use the text that you do from homework. So, for example, the text that we use for the complete the words, you can use it for analyzing. So it's okay. And also, you want to try to have your monologue in English. I think I mentioned this in the first task. So when you talk to yourself, when you think about what you're going to do with your day, when you think about what you have to do next week or what you did last week, try to do all of that, the reasoning, that internal reasoning where nobody's hearing you, nobody's like judging you. Try to have it in English. Now, things to consider, things to remember. Remember that practice makes perfect. This means don't expect to get a perfect score, or perfect answers if you don't practice. And the more you practice correctly, correct practice makes perfect, the better you will become. You also want to remember to spot the important information. These are what we call keywords. You don't want to really analyze every single word. You want to analyze the keywords. Remember to be specific. Each word has a specific meanings. Just use the specific meanings of each word, and learn to let go. Remember, better wrong than blank. If you don't know, if you have no idea, if you could not use possible information, just choose anything, move on with your life. You're not supposed to get stuck in a question. So here are more practice. You can watch free videos on YouTube if you don't have money to buy official books. And if you do have the money, buy official books, buy official practice tests. It's always better to work with official material, but the free material is also good. Okay. So remember, I'm gonna put the link in the description. I'm gonna put the link for this document, and there's also more free material there. You can ask me any questions in the comments, and see you in the next video. Bye.